Hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. Tell us where you are watching from, where you're viewing or listening to this broadcast from. We love to hear from you. Welcome to the 30 once again. On this week, I'm looking back at last week and I'm thinking, what a great show we had on last week where we talked about the young CEOs and we interviewed three of them. A fantastic show. You can go back and take a look at that. This week, we are going to be talking about taking a little twist, a little turn. We'll be talking about the qualities of effective leaders. If this is your first time viewing the 30, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you share the broadcast. Make sure that you tell some others that we are on. You can catch all of our previous broadcasts on the Jackman Group LLC YouTube channel. We're currently streaming live to three different areas: YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I wanted to just invite you in. Just let me know how you're doing out there. Make sure that you drop us a comment. You are free to do that. Tonight, it's me. So you'll have me for the next 25 minutes. I wanted to do this once again. Every now and then I come in and I there's some things that I see that I may bring up, whether from training or from the news or from seeing things. And tonight I want to talk about that. One thing is about leadership, and this is leaders can make or break a team or an organization. So tonight we'll be covering that. Qualities of an effective leader. So make sure that you have your questions or your comments because I'm going to be talking about four specific qualities of an effective leader, which can either make or break a team or an organization. Stick around and we'll be back in about 30 seconds. Welcome again to the 30. This is your host, Patrick. Tonight, we will be talking about the qualities of an effective leader. If you've watched this show, this broadcast for any amount of time, you will hear me talking about leadership, as well as building teams. Because I believe that there are some things when you become a leader, that there are some things that you should do, some things that you need to focus on. And we've seen throughout the world that leadership is imperiled, I like to say. We'll see leaders doing the things that they feel like doing as opposed to doing the things that they should do. There's a saying, and we've heard this throughout: people don't leave companies or organizations. They leave their leaders, they leave their managers. And I absolutely believe that theory, and that people don't leave where they are, but they leave the person or persons that are leading them. So, my years of experience in both leading teams, whether in corporate or in the Jackman Group or in ministry, I've seen both sides of the coin. Depending on who you ask, if I was an effective leader, they may give you some different thoughts, right? And then others may say, yeah. So some may say, no, he's not effective, but others may say yes. So it all depends on who you ask. But there are some very specific things that I focus on, that I've seen effective leaders in terms of qualities. I've seen them succeed because of that. And then I've seen some other things where other leaders choose not to follow some of the qualities that makes them a leader, And as a result, the team falters, the organization falters. So we're going to be talking about four specific things. So in my role, I have the opportunity to engage with leaders from different areas, whether it's in corporate, whether it's non for profit, or whether it is in ministry. So I've seen a number of things. I've engaged with a number of leaders, and there are a number of qualities that these leaders have. And we posted some of this on our social. If you are connected with us, the Jackman Group on LinkedIn or Facebook, you will see that about 2 weeks ago, we posted this in terms of effective leaders in the workplace. So, the first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to being an effective leader is honesty and integrity. You would think that this is common sense, right? You would think that most leaders will want to be honest, most leaders will want to have some level of integrity, but it's not that easy. It's not that prevalent today. For whatever reason, we've seen a breakdown in leadership where integrity and honesty is not as prevalent as it should be or it used to be. So to me, it's essential when you step in the role of a leader. And you've also heard me say this is that leaders, there's no guarantee. In our leadership is a privilege, it's not a right. So you don't have the right to be called a leader. You have the privilege to be called a leader. So it's essential for leaders to be effective. And one of the things, again, is honesty and integrity, right? So the higher you go in an organization, whether it's non for profit or profit, you are watched more closely. You sometimes become the face of the organization, whether it's an organization of one, or you're leading a team of one or a team of 1,000. It's still the same. Your credibility, your integrity should not be questioned. I'm not saying that you should be perfect, because there's none of us are perfect, right? We all have flaws. But you should always strive to have a high level of integrity and immense honesty, because your team members are going to be looking at you. The outside folks are going to be looking at you. Those are within your organization are going to be looking at you in terms of your decision making. Does it come from a place of honesty? Are you honest in what you say? Are you honest in what you do? Do you carry a high level, that high moral code? Or are you being dishonest to your team members? There's nothing greater that can break a team or organization is when their leader is found out to be questioned about their honesty and integrity. When integrity is gone, there's no amount of money in the world that can bring it back. So that's why I put that as my number one. Some may say, well, I don't think it should be number one. Well, you tell me what your four qualities or five qualities are, and what do you think is number one? But for me, honesty, integrity has to be number one. Number two, now it goes as I go on, is the ability to demonstrate what I call EI, or emotional intelligence. So, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those that are around you, those that you are leading, those that are part of your team. So, when it comes to having the emotional intelligence to be an effective leader, let's talk about what does that look like? What does that mean? One of the things that should be part of demonstrating emotional intelligence is the ability to respond to new initiatives. And we've seen that with COVID, where we had to pivot from what was old or what was familiar, and we simply had to pivot to what's new in order to move forward, in order to stay in business, in order to be effective. The second part of when we look at EI or emotional intelligence is the ability to communicate effectively. And I'm not just looking at it from talking or speaking, because we know that communication is made up of many parts. Communication, whether it is verbal or nonverbal, right? Whether it's how you say things or what you say, but it's also the ability to listen effectively, not cut people off because you think that you know it all or because you think that it's your turn. But we want to make sure that you are saying something, speaking effectively with meaning and purpose, with intention. Communication is a two-way street. There is a sender and there's a receiver. And I had a conversation. I was working with a team just last week, and we had a conversation about this, where we talked about the importance of understanding your team members or those that are on the receiving end, that they know what you're saying. And you understand, leaving with the understanding that they took away what you intended to say. So that's what we talk about in terms of communicating effectively, with intention, with purpose, and the person that you're sending it to on the receiving end, making sure that they understand what was said. If they don't understand, then it's not effective communication, because that's a one-way street. So the ability to communicate effectively, speaking, as well as listening, becomes a key component of your EI. Another part of EI that I know is important when it comes to qualities of an effective leader is the ability to be flexible. We can't be so rigid in the things that we are going to be doing or saying. We have to take others into consideration. We have to take others' thoughts and ideas into consideration and be able to give up sometimes of what we think we should do, but focusing on what is the best thing to do. As a leader, we certainly don't have all the answers. So it's always good to check in with those that may have or know more than you. So being flexible to move when it's time to move. Taking on new challenges, not being stuck in our ways. Taking on new challenges. Because as a leader, an effective leader, guess what? You are going to be faced with challenges. The real issue is, how are you going to deal with those challenges? Are you willing? And I talked about a couple of weeks ago about getting out of your comfort zone. Are you going to be stuck in your comfort zone? Or are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and take on new challenges? Here's another one for you when it comes to EI. Dressing and acting intelligently. Yes, we may not know it all as leaders, but it's important for us to have a level of intelligence. It's important for us to read. It's important for us to be open to receive feedback. It's important for us to do research. That's how we gain knowledge, is understanding through reading and understanding and doing research. I like what Pam says here. Pam said, and she took this, I think that's her pastor, Andy Stanley. Leaders who refuse to listen will eventually be surrounded by people who have nothing to say. What a powerful statement. Thanks for sharing that, Pam. Leaders who refuse to listen will eventually be surrounded by people who have nothing to say. Wow. That is profound. So EI becomes a critical piece. Communication, both listening as well as speaking. My third quality, and there are many, many qualities of effective leaders. You may have your own list, but these are the four. The third quality, which I think is as critical or important as a leader, is the ability to train, teach, and coach those that you serve, those that's on your team. To me, the single most important role of a leader, and leaders have many roles. If you're leading teams, you play many different roles on any given day. You could be the mediator, you could be the referee, you could be the one that actually mediates between two members. You could be the one that lends support. You could be the one that at that time has to carry a heavy stick. So as leaders, we play many roles on any given day. But the single most important role that an effective leader, we're talking about effective leadership and the qualities of that. The single most important role is the role of developing people. As a leader, your role is to develop those around you, those that you are serving, those that are working with you, developing them for greater results in skill and ability. To me, that's the single most important thing. That separates the weak leaders from the strong leaders. That separates the insecure leaders from the secure leaders. You see that the insecure leaders will be the one to try to hold you down, try to hide information from you, don't share anything with you. That's the weak and insecure leader because of the fear of them surpassing you. The strong and secure leaders are the one that will share information, the ones that is willing to develop you. After finding out what your goals are, to train and teach and coach and develop you for greater things. Not afraid of them surpassing you. It's okay. It's okay if you develop a leader and they go on to be the CEO of the company. Think about the role that you've had to play in that person's life, both personally and professionally. So the third part, or the third quality, as I said, is the ability to train, teach, and coach others to be great. Greatness, strength, security, as opposed to being insecure. Great leaders, effective leaders, don't mind being around others that may know more than you. Actually, you should strive for that. You should associate yourself with those that may know more than you. You don't know it all. So you should strive to place those around you that may know more than you. It doesn't take away from you as a leader. What it does is that it helps to develop them and you. The last one that I'm going to be talking about tonight as a quality, and we're talking about qualities of effective leaders. Go back to our social posts from 2 weeks ago, and you'll find this, whether it's on LinkedIn or on our Facebook page, under the Jackman Group LLC. I'm just expanding on it and having a conversation about it. So the last one is know thyself. Having a level of self-awareness as to who you are. What are your strengths? What are your areas of opportunity? We at a Jackman Group, we do something in terms of assessments, and we partner with a company called Core Strengths and understanding what makes you tick, what drives you, what are your motives, right? So we do this for when we are training leaders or when we are going in with organizations to help build and enhance their teams. So whether it's, we also do it on a personal level. So whether it's professional or personal, the goal here, when we go in and we work or partner or serve of others, is to really bring a level of understanding in terms of who am I? What makes me tick? What drives me? Then those are around me, what makes them tick? What are their motives? We call them motives. What are their motives? So if we understand what drives us or what makes us tick, and we understand those around us and our teams, what drives them or makes them tick, then we're building stronger teams. We're diminishing conflict within the team. So know thyself. Have a level of self-awareness, knowing that we all come with certain strengths. We also come with some opportunities. One of the things that we teach in that class is if the strength is misapplied or overdone, now it is perceived to others as a weakness. But we should know what our strengths are. So the better you understand you and recognize what your strengths are, and you can manage those strengths so that they don't be perceived as a weakness, the more effective you are as a person and the more effective you are as a leader. So know you, know your team members, and that enhances your effectiveness as a leader of people. If you would like to know more about the assessment and how we can partner with you on that, or if you simply want to become a more effective leader, get a hold of us. Email us. You can email us at info@jackmangroupllc.com. That's info@jackmangroupllc.com. Or you can give us a call at 585-861-6828. That's 585-861-6828. We would love to partner with you. We'd love to have you become a more effective leader, because we need to have more effective leaders out there. We have leaders, but not all leaders are effective. So if that's you and you want to become a more effective leader, get a hold of me. Get a hold of one of our team members. We would love to partner with you. So in summary, before we end, just want to touch base and give you these 4 qualities of an effective leader. We talked about honesty and integrity is number 1. Being honest in everything that you do. Not perfect. I didn't say perfect, but be honest and have a high level of integrity. Number 2, demonstrate the ability to demonstrate EI or emotional intelligence. Number 3, the ability to train, teach, or develop leaders or others, not just leaders, but others on your team or others around you for greatness. And lastly, know thyself. Understand who you are. Understand your strengths, your areas of opportunity, and the ability to manage your strengths so that they are not perceived by others as weaknesses. So I want to thank you for being here. Drop me a line. Let me know what's going on. We'd love to hear from you. info@jackmangroup.llc.com. We'll have another guest next week, and we'll continue our focus on leadership. That's it. Thank you for watching, for listening, and we'll see you next week. May God bless you and your family. Be safe. Peace.